This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome to The Front Porch, real conversations about life, leadership, and perseverance. Each week, Dennis Polian and Jay Davis bring you inspiring stories and lessons to help you grow, lead, and thrive. Pull up a chair. The conversation starts now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Front Porch podcast. I'm Dennis Polian with my friend Jay Davis. We had an unbelievable guest scheduled for you today. Who we were looking forward to talking to. I'm not going to let you know who she is because she will be on another time. We ended up having a scheduling issue, and she had to adjust. And Jay, like all situations in business, you have to learn to pivot. And we didn't want to not record an episode today. So for everybody out there, today's show is literally going to be a show
about nothing.
Exactly right. And I think we have something there.
Which is absolutely perfect for us, right? When we first started talking about this, when you approached me about it, we big Seinfeld fans. Well, you're 70s, right? I was born 70, you're 77?
76.
76. Yep. So Seinfeld was big in our lives coming up. And we thought we'd have a show about nothing, and here we are today. So as business owners, everybody out there that listens to us, that watches us, we all have the best script. We all have the best plan every day, and somehow it doesn't work out that way.
Every day.
Every day. We're in a certain type of industry, insurance. And we think we're going to accomplish everything that's on our sheet. We establish systems and processes, and we cross our fingers and hope that all works out. And sometimes you got a zero blitz coming at you, and you got to call some audibles. And here we are. We're going to call an audible, right?
Call an audible. So we could talk about any number of things today. Pivoting is a good one. Not your day not going to plan today. My day went nothing like my plan, but we still had a successful day. And I think one of the reasons we did so well as a team is because we had a hiccup this morning. I'm onboarding a new team member who's been with our company at large for some time, but not with me, obviously. And I've got different process, different standards, things like that. And we're going through some things that require time, focus, and energy. But at the same time, we have to be available to our clients or a new customer, prospective customer. And I've noticed with a lot of, I hate to say this, a lot of younger employees out there who don't have a ton of experience, when something happens that knocks them off course, can cause chaos. And we almost got there this morning. And it was very telling to me how much I underestimated my impact on the team because I just refused to let the disruption and the challenge that we were facing impact our outlook on the day and what still was going to be accomplished and what we were working toward and the time I was going to spend with my new teammate on, what the expectations are, how we're going to treat people, how we do things. And when you look back at the end of the day, when I was driving over here to record this with you, I got a text from somebody else on the team thanking me for my patience with everything this morning. And I didn't even think of it in that regard. It was really, we're going to solve the problem. We're going to help some people because that's what we do. And the rest of it will take care of itself as long as we're following our process. I think 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have reacted that way. I would have contributed to the chaos. And I don't think I ever
I
looked
don't
at
agree
myself.
with that, but I don't agree with that. You don't give yourself enough credit, but
I don't think I even thought of myself, because we're essentially a boutique business. So I don't think of myself as a leader of people in the sense that they're going to model me, and my attitude and my energy. And today was a very telling in that regard as a business leader and as somebody that's responsible for the development and employment of folks.
Well, I think that's the important thing about systems and processes is you establish all that to prepare for the unexpected. And I don't know how this, again, we're supposed to have a guest today, how random things pop in your head. But while you're talking, I played 1 year of high school football. We won a state championship that year. I broke my scapula, but Coach Brooks was a starter at the golf course that I worked at and played at. And his branding was MTXE, mental toughness, extra effort. And it was branded on every T-shirt we had, every hat, everything. And we were a small private Catholic school in Illinois, 1A. And to think back then I was a freshman, golly, I'm going to date myself, 1984. And Coach Brooks was branding back then with MTXE. And for my 4 years at Jacksonville Route Catholic High School in Illinois, MTXE was embedded in my brain. And whether it was, we had state-ranked basketball teams all through my high school years, and football-ranked teams all through my high school years. And Coach Brooks was kind of ahead of his time back in 1984 to brand with a theme. But back to your situation today is, when you listen to the podcast, it's, I think this is our 7th episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you listen and you hear systems, you hear processes, you hear things that, pardon my French, aren't sexy, right? But they're the fundamental basis of success. And when your team is trained and has a conviction for the systems and the processes, when you get a curveball, it's like yawner, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll pivot and we'll be fine. And this is what we do, and this is what we're trained to do. It's just like all your years in college and NFL. That's really what you're. And it's interesting, you especially college. I don't think it's so much NFL, and you can speak to this, but college is, in terms of scheme, is a little different than NFL. Mm-hmm. And I know NFL does it the same way too, where the first 15 plays are scripted. But in college, things aren't as complex in terms of scheme and defensive scheme, really. Matt Patricia could say otherwise with Ohio State and what he's scrambling offenses right now. But it becomes, so far, the 7th episode with the podcast is systems and processes. If you all are avid listeners at this point, that becomes a little white noise in the background. Mm-hmm. But it's the Midwest guy. It's the meat and potatoes of every successful organization. I don't care if it's business, if it's sports, whatever you do, whatever type of business. You have an art gallery. If you're a successful Wall Street guy, if you're insurance, consulting, whatever it is, if you don't have a baseline and systems and processes to support it, then you can't handle the curveballs.
Yep. No, that's a great point. And it's the biggest thing I learned transitioning from football to business is that the importance of that is exactly the same. It is, football being entertainment, essentially, on Saturdays and Sundays. And if you're in the Midwest, Tuesdays and Wednesdays with Maction. The
love that.
the process, you're not seeing it. The folks that are engaging on social media and watching the games and things like that, they're not seeing what goes on during the week. But if you're on the field, if you're putting on a helmet, and it is extremely likely that this is the case for any competitive sport, your how you go about your week and prepare for the moment is extremely critical to your execution. Like you said, it becomes white noise, but it can only be white noise if you are in it every day, committed, executed to it, to where it becomes boring, a little boring and mundane. And
there's so much success and boring. It's unbelievable.
And that's what I've noticed is the more I've held my team accountable to that boring, mundane process that we have, the more successful they become. And they're starting to see that and actually having more fun, even though they're doing what they would consider probably less interesting things throughout the day. And it's no different for an athlete. What somebody on the outside might seem as really fun and glamorous, the amount of time that goes into what they do during the day is to them just as boring. And it's their love and passion for what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve that kind of brings them through that. And it's just amazing how that really fits in really every part of life, whether it's business or sports or school. And the other point that you made, that's a great point, is the complexities of your process. Matt Patricia is able to do what he does because he's suited it for what skill set his players have.
Yeah.
And
that makes a great coach.
Exactly.
Right?
And no difference than a business owner who's putting people in the right positions based on their strengths, not based on their weaknesses. I would challenge anybody who builds a team around covering up weaknesses and say that's actually going to alienate anybody's strengths and put you in a weaker position.
And if you overwork or overplay your weakness, your strength becomes your weakness.
Exactly, because you're not developing it.
Right.
Like a muscle.
Right. And, to your point, when I was coaching golf and junior golf development and kids that were looking to go to the next level to play college golf, and, I was lucky to have some professional experience, it's really interesting to watch the way a week progresses on tour. Everybody's, they're playing their practice rounds, but everybody's working with their teachers. Everybody's doing their thing. They're making a swing change, or if it's a pre-shot routine change or whatever the case may be. But when you get to the weekend, everybody on that range, for the most part, a large majority of them are working on two things. And it's not sexy. Posture and setup. If my lines are on, if I've made it to the weekend, for the most part, I'm playing good, right? If I've made it to the weekend, I just have to make sure that I'm square, my lines are square, and I'm aimed where I'm looking at. Pull the trigger and let's go. And, all these kids would ask me, hey, these guys are doing this, they're doing that. They're still in the gym doing with their physios, doing all that stuff to get ready. But on the weekends, guys and gals know that they're playing well, especially the people that are at the top of the leaderboard. And it's not sexy, but they're working on fundamentals because they know they got it in the groove. If they can line up, we're going to knock flag sticks down all day.
Yeah.
just like you do in your business every day,
Yeah.
right? Huh? You're just
Just
rocking
knocking 'em
and
down.
rolling, aren't you?
We're cracking necks and cashing checks, baby.
Wow. Well,
I wouldn't say
do
it's that.
we want to interject the Snoop Dogg story right now,
No,
or what?
I don't think so. I think we'll keep that off the front porch. That's a back porch conversation.
Life moves fast, but the unexpected doesn't care about your calendar. At the Polian Agency, we help successful families protect what they've worked so hard to build. From life insurance to smart coverage strategies, we tailor protection that grows with you, so you're prepared for whatever's next. The Polian Agency, where protection meets purpose. Visit PolianAgency.com or call 254-772-1444 to start the conversation.
Sorry, I had to throw that in.
No, that's
as a
okay.
just let our viewers and listeners know that, yeah, Dennis was a producer on a Adidas shoot.
One. That's an exaggeration. One interaction with Snoop. That was it. He wouldn't even remember.
I bet he would. You checked him.
That's all we'll say about that.
That's the way it's going down, D-O-double-G.
Oh, man. We are officially off the rails. To pivot again, to keep with the theme, I will say, I wonder if you've ever experienced this, because I imagine other people have. I came from an industry where fundamentals were key in everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest mistake I made was when I started my business was actually losing track of the fundamentals, losing track of what was really going to result in success, and focusing on so many other things based on what somebody like Nick Saban would say is noise,
mm-hmm.
or rat poison.
Yeah.
I fell into that trap after almost 30 years of being taught and trained and mentored to not even think about that noise, and not even recognize its existence. And then as soon as I put my own money on the line and basically put my neck out there to build a brand and do things like this, completely walk away from fundamentals and start listening to the noise.
Well, I will. I'll give you I'll give you a pat on the back and say that it was an industry and a business that you weren't familiar with, and you being a high achiever, you felt like you had to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
And it's easy to get sucked into kind of losing what your core identity is a little bit when you've been successful your entire life, and to see yourself in a place that you've never been, to question yourself. Again, it all comes back to, and this is what our conversations every day are really about. It all comes back to, it's a hard thing, is self-belief and knowing what you're about, and knowing what you've done doesn't really define who you are, but it provides continuous motivation to keep you on the path to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But a different industry throws a curveball at you that you've never had to deal with ever. And, there were some days, that you and I would talk where I had to kind of give you a proverbial hug and say, just keep doing what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be somebody that you're not. Because every time we try to be somebody we're not, in a way we fail.
No question.
Whether it's
Yeah.
professionally or personally.
That's gold.
Yeah,
That's gold
I
right
raise
there.
my hand on
Yeah.
that too. It is, and it's tough because we're built a certain way, and it's not so much that we love winning, but we hate to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, I don't care, business owner, professional athlete, whoever, if you want to be successful, you've got an ego. We all do, and we've got a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. Some of us have bigger ones than others, but it's just sometimes it's so hard to just get out of our own way. And
Yeah, no question. It's like a little bit of imposter syndrome,
it's,
and
it's a lot.
yeah,
Of imposter syndrome.
throws you in there. But man, I'll tell you, it's anybody who's listening, who's thinking about starting a business, has started a business, is in their first year, and industry by industry, right? That benchmark of survival to where you turn the corner and you really become, an established, successful business. Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, every industry is a little different. Our industry is really about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a year in, maybe just under a year and a half. And that first year is the hardest year I've ever had professionally, despite all of the different roles I've had with Hurricane Katrina and Tulane football, with COVID, with
Let's also think about the leaders that you've served with, tops of their games and their profession. And they, in your football career, it's a win now business.
Yep.
Even more so now than when you got into it. I think when you got into it, it was about development, and now not so much. But again, I give you a lot of credit. I do. We joke about it every day, and we kind of coach each other every day. That I wouldn't say that, and I say this respectfully, that you haven't gotten cocky, but you're a little more sure of yourself in this business, and it's fun to listen to every day. That we never have it figured out. Never admit you have it figured out, because it'll kick you in the butt before you can turn around. But I think that you have comfort in yourself as a business owner in this industry.
That's probably a good way to put it. I am certainly so far away from what I would consider success, but I am 1,000% more confident in what matters in the industry we're in, and how you should go about treating people, and how you should approach the industry for if you want long-term success and you want to do something that is impactful in the community, like some people that we know who've been doing it 30 years and that's what they've built. But we're now in a time where it's instant growth right now, show me results. And I've seen some things that don't mesh with just who I am, and tried to play that game. And the most valuable lesson I learned was when that light bulb went off and I figured out what I should not listen to, and what things are going to take me away from who I am. I had a total shift in, no, that's not important, or no, that's BS.
Right.
And
your vision became crystal clear, and your processes and systems, not that you questioned them, but it gave you more just a stronger belief and a stronger conviction in knowing that.
Oh yeah, there was validation there because I was questioning them. Is this the right thing? Is this going to work? And at the end of the day, it wasn't the process or the system or the people. It was me being distracted by all those other things and me not doing my part to make sure that the team was sticking to the process. And as soon as that switch happened, things changed.
And it's not that, to be fully transparent, maybe it's not my place to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. The business is successful. The business is, it's growing. You're not independently wealthy by any means right now, but there is a belief and there is a vision that is starting to crystallize for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, there's no question. And like you said, I would consider the business going well. I'm not paying myself, but I didn't expect to at this point.
You're a business owner
But
and you're not paying yourself
exactly,
a year and a
right?
half in. Did everybody hear that out there?
Exactly. But you know who's getting paid? My people. And they're grateful for it. And they understand actually in this economy and what's happening in communities essentially all around the country with small businesses and the employment rate and what opportunities are available. I have a grateful team, which makes them a better team, but that only happened because I'm putting them first when they know that there are other business owners out there that they've worked for that don't put them first in different industries that they've worked in. And that's also a little bit of another validation now. It's also a shout out to my wife, Jenny, who is obviously allowing us to make this sacrifice and supporting me in everything because she believes in the vision too. Mm-hmm. She sees what it is, but that's literally the mindset you have to be successful in sports. And I think for the first 6 months as a business owner, I didn't even think about applying that mindset until I started to learn some things and have some experiences that made me question how my focus was being distributed and what I was believing and who I was following.
And anybody out there listening, they might be scratching their head thinking, Dennis Polian's had so much success in college, NFL football, and director of ops and major Power 4 programs, currently working on your PhD in performance psychology, Villanova, Masters, Boston College. How could a guy this educated miss so bad?
I hope nobody that's ever taught me anything, including my current professors, are listening.
But I say that as a teaching moment for people listening.
Because what you learn, and I'm so blessed to have those experiences and been able to go to those schools, and they shaped me in a lot of ways. But it was the culture and the community at those schools that shaped me and the way my parents raised me, mm-hmm. right? And not necessarily the Irish history class that I took so I could learn more about my heritage. It was and even now in PhD courses, what you don't learn, what you don't focus on is reality. You focus on theory. Now, what I love about the PhD piece of it is eventually there'll be some work that I have to produce and mm-hmm. defend that I can take to reality,
right?
And test. And I love that challenge because I use what I'm learning on the team every day, and they know it. We talk about it all the time and joke about it and say, okay, hey, I was talking to so-and-so about this. We're going to try this. I want you guys to tell me what you think, because it has to be rooted in reality. And a lot of the college experience, on that, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's not a like anywhere you go to school, there's always, right, in the community, that theory of the campus bubble, or that statement, oh, they're over in the bubble.
Right.
Right. That usually those kinds of characterizations come about for a reason. You are in a little bit of a bubble, and then industry to industry, I think there's a bubble. Now that I've seen two very distinct industries, and then being in insurance, I'm being exposed to so many different industries, because every industry needs insurance, and you're talking to business owners and leaders in other industries and about their experiences, and most of it fundamentally is the same, but there are some nuances that you're like, hey, gosh, I never even thought that was a thing to even consider or spend your energy on, or that would be a challenge for you as a business owner.
Right.
And that's not to say you shouldn't go to college.
I wasn't taking a shot at Villanova or Boston College,
but they're
very reputable. But.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give up a minute of what of that time there. But there are things that require life experience, that
practical knowledge and experience are irreplaceable.
The thing that I loved about this is shout out to BC and Villanova. The thing I loved about those two schools versus some other schools that I won't name, is that people that come out of those schools, even to this day, come out with a different level of humility than I think graduates from other schools come out with.
That sense of entitlement.
Yeah. Because, and a lot of it is because there's service requirements. There's certain expectations and standards in terms of how you interact with your peers in the community and things like that. And I don't know if it's the faith-based component or not. I just know that it's and I see it in a lot of the kids that come out of Baylor too. There is much less entitlement and much more willingness to actually work for something and learn something new. There's a constant curiosity, for lack of a better term. And I think that's
a great term.
That prepared me well to be able to handle this is real. Those moments, because I had those moments. No doubt you had those moments, right? When you go from you go from one step to the next step to the next step. It's a different challenge. It's like climbing a set of stairs, and every time you get to the next flight, a little steeper, the gaps are a little bigger.
And a lot of times you're taking 2 steps up that ladder and falling 1 step back too.
Yep.
And that's where the growth is.
Yep.
We think that success is linear,
mm-hmm.
and it's just an easy progression, but it's taking those 2 steps and getting a little full of yourself, and thinking, I got this, and then it kicks you in the butt and knocks you down, and that's the time where you're introspective, where you learn that, hey, I wasn't that great at certain things.
Yep.
And I got to get better at certain things to not only sustain that success, but to continue to excel and grow. And again, I wasn't when taking shots of those that education, but there's things you can learn in a classroom that you can't learn in the real world. And back to you and your success in the football world is that, it's, I say this as this kind of a big brother. And we've talked about it. You and I talk 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day sometimes, and now you're giving me a hard time where I always gave you a hard time. So I know we're getting there.
I am feeling myself a little bit there. I recognize that.
So I know you're getting there.
It's a great feeling too.
And I appreciate it, because you know what? Now it's pushing me, and now my roles shift, and kind of we're on the same team a little bit, not the same place, but we're on the same team, and it's kind of cool that kind of brother in arms that you signed up for this. I've been in it for almost 14 years now, and it's kind of cool every day that we talk and push each other to get better.
Yeah. And that's important. Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that, no matter what they're doing. And you've got to have a certain level of
truth, realness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to keep you humble, 2, to make you better, and 3, to have a sounding board that you really trust. And think about when you made your transition to the business world from golf, and I made the transition to football, from football to business, and how many people in our worlds, in our sphere, thought we were crazy, right? So now you're in that moment. Who can you lean on? Because if that world that you've been so close to is now looking at what you're doing, like, and you're out on an island, you've got to be able to have somebody that you trust, that's going to tell you not necessarily what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, whether it's something you like or you don't like. And that's because if that's real, if that relationship is real, you're going to be a better leader. You're going to be a better business owner. You're going to be a better teacher for your people. But anything that somebody else would perceive as negative it's not perceived as negative. It's perceived as real good feedback. Right. That's going to make you better.
Yeah.
And I'm not to pat you on the back. I'm grateful that I have that, because I don't think I would have had the fortitude to stay at it the way I did. I would have stayed at it, but I may have made changes that were going to be mistakes, or would have slowed me down, or put me in a different mindset where I didn't have as much grit or resilience. A great example is, there are businesses out there that I want to model that you're familiar with, where in our industry this time of year, once you get to holidays, man, nobody who's buying insurance, right? And there's a lot of different pressures there, and some agencies, it doesn't matter, right? Because they're so established, they do things the right way. Everything's good. But when you're growing it, and I'm sure it's every business has its peak seasons. And if you're not prepared for the valleys, like I wasn't last year, it can be tough. But now I'm prepared this year, and it's still going to be tough, but not as tough. But then, right, you can get caught up in the scoreboard and the pressure to perform and look what this person's doing, especially when it comes down from leadership. And I went back and I looked at my books. The business 2024 November versus 2025 doubled what's on the books. That doesn't double our income, but doubled what's on the books for the company. And I'm sitting there saying, I'm not doing a good job right now. We're not doing a good job. But we actually doubled year over year in that particular month.
Right.
We doubled.
For all you business owners out there, that's pretty good.
That's, but it doesn't feel that way sometimes. And you're not going to, I wouldn't have that mindset if I didn't have the ability to be able to lean on you for your insights and experience and in a lot of cases, validation of where I was trying to take things, and in some cases, challenges of what is that something you really want to do? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Or hey, dummy.
It's not bad for a guy that had a failure to launch, right?
rocket ran out of gas fast, according to some. But here we are.
There's some big rockets that ran out of gas too. But anyway, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Yeah, no, I had to interject because I thought maybe the podcast would be sponsored by Kleenex here. I didn't know if we're gonna hug it out, start crying or what here.
Hey.
But
Real men pay compliments.
I know. No, it's good, and it's it's kind of an insight into our day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we may have some texts in the morning, but you're about spot on for about 10:30 in the morning. I get a call from you.
That's it. I'm not doing that tomorrow. No.
You're predictable.
Consistency.
Yeah. But all kidding aside, we're really here to, this isn't this podcast's not a hobby,
No.
right?
No.
It's everything we do every day. And I won't speak for you. I have my moments that I'm not good every day, but everything that we think about with this podcast, the whole intent and purpose of it, was really to help people.
Yep.
And you don't have to be a business owner to take value in our experiences. Because again, we said it early on in the early episodes, is that we'd be selfish not to share. And for a couple of regular dudes, we've been fortunate to have unbelievable experiences with some really cool people. And it would be selfish on our part if we weren't thoughtful, if we weren't purposeful and didn't have intent on the things that we want to share with the people that listen and the people that watch. Hi to your mom. She's one person on YouTube. I think maybe
she thinks it's okay.
She thinks it's okay. But we're really trying to get people to, it all comes back, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but what I have to say really is purposeful to what we think about, talk about, and do every day. It's that whole Jim Valvano ESPY speech, right? Spend some time in thought. Spend some time with stuff that moves you to emotion. There's a third thing I should know because I rewatch it every day that my mom passed away back on September 11th. But if you're not moved to emotion, then whatever you're doing, really, you need to do something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
If something does not move you to emotion, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, if you can't laugh, if you can't cry, if you can't, you don't have to cry, but if you don't feel something in your gut, then figure out something else to do.
Yeah.
Because that's life.
Yep. It's hard.
It's hard.
If it's worth it. If it's worth it, it's hard. And that's a great place for us to end. And it's a lot of like what Marv Levy always used to say. What it takes is simple, but it's not easy. And I'm going to challenge everybody out there. If you don't have somebody that you lean on to have those real truth moments, find that person. If you're somebody with experience and wisdom that can be that person and you haven't given back,
then
give back and be that person to somebody, pass it forward, because there's a lack of grit and resilience in this world. But there is so much good out there especially in our business community, where you do that, you can make so much of a difference for somebody that you don't even realize, and it'll take minimal effort.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't think that they have the credibility or the knowledge or just talking stuff out. You don't realize what you have to offer until you kind of just let it go a little bit.
And that's really all it is. It's just talking.
It's just talking, And a quick point, I had this conversation in my agency today, is why can't we get here on this? Why can't we get here on that? How can we make this person better? How can we do this better? And I said, it's just a conversation. We don't have conversations anymore.
Nope.
And this particular very successful individual stopped him in his tracks as he was walking out of my office, and he said, "You're right. It's just about a conversation."
The conversation equals connection. And then that connection, you would be shocked how much of an impact that connection has.
And we stop. We stop in the middle of the conversation because we don't think that a lot of us sell ourselves short, and we don't think that we have more to offer. And take that leap, do it. And before you cut me off, I got to say hi to my grandsons. Rowan, Reese, love you. See you soon. And
Hey, Mom.
hey, Mom.
We'll see you next time on the front porch. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Front Porch. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, share, and leave a review so more people can join the conversation. Until next time, keep showing up, keep leading strong, and we'll see you back on the porch soon.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.